Midnight. You ever feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, torn apart by conflicting emotions? Well, buckle up, folks, because today's story is about to take you on a wild ride. I'm your narrator, Name, and welcome to another episode of Reddit Storytime. As a successful engineer with a loving partner, Rachel, who's a lawyer, we've built a beautiful life together in the suburbs. We're well-traveled, we own our home, and we've got a comfortable lifestyle. But despite all these accomplishments, I've always felt like there's something missing, that nagging sense of responsibility to take care of my family. My sister, Emma, is 28 years old, and let me tell you, she's been a constant source of stress in our lives for as long as I can remember. She dropped out of college after 2 years, and despite our parents' best efforts to help her get back on track, she just can't seem to hold down a steady job or manage her finances. 045. Now, you might be thinking, what's the problem? You're successful, your partner is successful, why not just help out your sister? Well, it's not that simple. My parents have always been overly involved in Emma's life, and as a result, she's never really had to take responsibility for herself. And I'm not just talking about financial responsibilities, I mean emotional ones too. When our parents are around, Emma can coast on their guilt trips and get away with doing nothing. But when they're not there, it becomes clear that she's not taking my advice or guidance seriously. She'll show up late at night, smelling like booze, and expect us to make breakfast for her the next morning. Rachel would get frustrated because Emma wasn't contributing anything to our household, no groceries, no help with chores, nothing. 120. It got to a point where I felt like we were enabling her behavior. We'd let her stay in our guest room, which was fine at first, but then she started taking advantage of us more and more. We'd pay some bills for her, and then she'd just shrug it off and say she was sure everything would be okay. Rachel started to get really upset because we were essentially turning our home into a free-for-all. Last week, Emma dropped the bombshell, she quit her part-time job to pursue a career in art. When Rachel asked her how she planned on supporting herself, Emma just shrugged and said she was sure something would come up. I mean, what? No plan. No backup. No nothing. 150. We had a huge argument that night, with me feeling like I'm being taken advantage of by my own sister and Rachel feeling like we're losing control of our home. We finally agreed to sit down with Emma the next day and have a calm conversation about how things needed to change. But when we did talk to her, it became clear that she's not taking any responsibility for her actions. She blames everything on bad luck and expects us to bail her out yet again. Rachel and I are at a loss, we feel like we're being taken advantage of by our own sister, and don't know how much longer we can keep this up. 215. So, the question is, am I the asshole for wanting to cut ties with Emma? Shouldn't she be taking responsibility for her life instead of expecting us to save her all the time? Let's take a look at some background and context. My sister has always been a bit of a free spirit, but that doesn't mean we should enable her behavior. Our parents have been enabling her too, they've always been so protective and over-involved in her life. It's like she's never had to learn how to be independent. 245. Now, let's break down the situation. What went wrong here? Well, first of all, our family hasn't set any clear boundaries with Emma. We've always been so caught up in trying to help her that we forgot to establish what's acceptable and what's not. And then there's the issue of enabling, we're basically letting her coast on our guilt trips instead of pushing her to take responsibility for herself. 310. So, here's what I want from you, folks. What would you do in this situation? Would you cut ties with your sibling if they were constantly mooching off you? Or would you try to find a way to make it work? Maybe there are some of you out there who have dealt with similar situations and can offer some advice. 3:30. As I sit here, thinking about my relationship with Emma, I realize that we've been holding on for too long. We need to set clear boundaries and take control of our own lives. It's time to stop enabling her behavior and start taking care of ourselves. And if that means cutting ties with Emma, then so be it. 4 o'clock. So, what do you think? Am I the asshole for wanting to cut ties with my sister? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you have any advice or similar stories to share? Let's get a conversation going. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more Reddit Storytime episodes. As always, thanks for listening, and until next time, take care.